Welcome, everybody, to Midday Magazine for this Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. I have your host, James, here with you. We're joined right now by our great friends from the Family Center. We have Executive Director Tricia Fancher with us. Tricia, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Always appreciate the time, and I do like to journalistically mention to the audience, I am on the board of the Wisconsin Rapids Family Center, and just as important, I am also on the right side of history when it comes to our subjects we're going to be talking about today. I make no bones about that, and I know I'm not alone, and I bring this up actually as a way to kind of get into the conversation a little bit with you, but also because when I brought this up over the years, when I've interviewed members from the Family Center, I have heard more times than not, I would say 9 out of 10 interviews from the audience and hearing from people that I don't normally hear from that want to just add to the sentiment, I'm with you. And we're with you, and we're with the Family Center. This is more and more important as we go along, Tricia, in part because this subject and this fight is not ending, but also important because of the lack of funds that have been happening in recent time to the Family Center. We'll touch on that today and get into some other things as well. But I'm wondering if you don't mind if we can discuss this 40th anniversary first.
Yeah. So we are celebrating this year is our 40th anniversary. The Family Center, started 40 years ago in 84. And actually, as the Family Center got started in the St. Lawrence Catholic Church convent is where it got started. And there had been a couple women who attended that church. And the church was realizing that domestic abuse and sexual assault were a problem within our community. And when that convent had been sitting empty for quite some time, there was a group of women that came to the current priest and said, what if we use that convent to help victims of domestic or sexual violence? And that's really where the Family Center was birthed from, and we've just grown from there.
Going back to my first conversation with Sue and Deb, I used to on-air, off-air joke with them. I wish you didn't have a job. I would love to see you. I'd love to be interviewing you still, but just in a whole different business or something like that. And the same goes for you, certainly. It's an interesting situation to and I use the word celebrate in a different light maybe with this, because while we're very proud and very thankful, very, very thankful, very appreciative of 40 years of having a Wisconsin Rapids Family Center, of those early trailblazers. Of that. I'm so appreciative. I love history just in general, but local history all the more, and giving us an opportunity to be thankful to those individuals that got this going. At the same time, we do wish that we didn't even need this center, but we do. And thank God that we have it. We are thankful that we have it, and the people and the individuals that we do have doing this. And in 40 years, this is, I'm a big believer in silver linings, and always find that you can always find the silver lining in any situation in life. And when I look at something like this, you don't have to dig. They're right there for you. And one of the positives is the idea of not just the person that has been in a situation like this. And statistically, we know that it doesn't take many degrees of separation that somebody has experienced domestic violence, whether personally or know of an individual that has. But to the individuals out there in the community that have not, that small percentage, but that percentage of people, when they hear something like this, the pride that they take in the Family Center is just as wonderful as some of the individuals and some of the other stories that I've heard over the years and some of that. And I think it's noteworthy, too, that our Wisconsin Rapids Family Center stands out. And is one of those ones that not every area has one that has been around for 40 years.
Right.
That's some pride in our roots, some pride in this area that we can take as well. So I think that there's a lot to celebrate in this regard, while also doing this with a heavy heart and understanding that there is not only work that has to be done, but people that need us.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's interesting because when we started, we had one full-time employee and one part-time employee back in 84 when the Family Center started. And unfortunately, the need has continued to grow. And it is right that you're absolutely correct. There's so much to celebrate that our community is so thankful and blessed to have this organization and to be able to provide services to victims in our area. But at the same time, all of the community members that have made this happen. And that's really, really what we want to celebrate is our community has done this for 40 years and have assisted us to have these services. And we have grown from one full-time employee and one part-time employee to 15 full-time employees and 7 part-time employees. And we've grown from, in the beginning when the Family Center opened in 84, they had the shelter and there was 5 bedrooms within the shelter. And they also had our visitation safe exchange program. But the number of programs that we have grown for not only people seeking shelter, but people seeking outreach services. And now we have support groups, and we have legal advocacy, and we have housing advocacy, children programming, and all of the different things that as we became experts in the field, we were able to notice, hey, here's a gap that our community really needs us to fill. And because of community support, whether it be volunteering, donating, we were able to step into those gaps and have been able to continue doing so for 40 years.
And with that longevity and being around long enough, you're able to collect data, you're able to get more and more information and figure out ways to help this issue, help people in this issue, and learn more about why this happens in some of those and how we can prevent it from happening in the future. So many layers to this topic that I don't think were things that we saw early on. And right. I think it's important to note, too, that year you mentioned, 84, and when this was, that wasn't that long ago. No. So there was a lot of decades, a lot of years before that where we didn't have a family center around and didn't have something for this. So while it is a heavy heart that we do this and we celebrate 40 years, it's really important, I think, to keep in mind, too, that the work that was done to get to this point and how it could be otherwise. It doesn't take a huge imagination to imagine, what our community would be like if we didn't have a family center. Right. And that immediately hopefully shook some people up and like, oh yeah, that we are very thankful for what we have, and we don't do the trailblazers, the people in the past that went through everything they did. We do them no service if we don't appreciate what we have now. So it's great. It really is 40 years. Something very much we can hang our hat on, be proud of in this community. Yeah. And especially as we're getting into this upcoming annual appeal. It's a great time of year to remind people of the work that's being done and has done and needs to be done by the Family Center.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have our annual kind of newsletter going out and updating the community. And it's going to be a fun one, celebrating our 40 years, right? And talking about the history and some of the details, how we've grown over the years, and really how our community can continue to support and how vital it is for our community to continue to support. Because like you said, as you said, if we didn't have a family center, and that's terrifying to me, and it should be to our community, because we're sheltering, 65 plus individuals a year, and that's just in shelter. That doesn't include the outreach services, which are thousands of outreach services a year. And so where would our community members who are facing violence, where would they go if the Family Center wasn't here? And that's a scary thought.
Yeah. With this annual appeal, I do want to come back to a point that I and Melissa Kay, our head of news, her and I have been really making sure that it is not forgotten on the audience, the lack of funds and the cuts that have been made to domestic violence shelters around the country, and especially ours here in Wisconsin Rapids, and how we've always needed to help our Family Center and have your back. You guys have ours. It's our opportunity to have yours. But it has maybe never been more vital to be a part of this any way you can. Sometimes it involves dollars and cents. Sometimes it involves volunteering, but it involves all of us. Yeah. And all of us coming together on this one. I also think that there's an opportunity here too, where in a divisive year and divisive things is how they can be, and we're seeing more and more of the country going the opposite direction and wanting to come together and everything. And here's another opportunity for us to come together on a topic where most life is gray. Most of life is pretty darn gray. Yeah. Here's a black and white topic for you, everybody. And here's one that we can all be on the right side of history with. And we see so much of society going that direction and being that way. And this community is certainly a part of that. So when we talk about this annual appeal and talk about the lack of funds and all these things, it all comes together to any way you can helping the Family Center continue to do the work that they are doing over there. And also reminding the Family Center and the people that work over there, you are not alone in this battle. We may not have a family center shirt, or we may not be an employee, but we are a part of the team with you. We are a part of the right side of history with you on this topic. So that's another part of this appeal that I think stands out too, is being able to let the family center, the community know where you stand. And I specifically talk to businesses and reach out to businesses out there about this. I do this on the air, but I do it when I have a chance in person as well. When we talk about different ways to promote your business or support your business, one of the first things any marketing executive will tell you, attach yourself to a nonprofit. Be a part of a nonprofit or something. We got nothing but great nonprofits in our community. And one of the greatest ones is our family center, doing some of the most vital work in our community. So if I can't reach your heart, maybe I can reach your business side of things. This is an amazing opportunity for you to not only be a part of the right side of history, but also to be helping your local nonprofit doing the work that they're doing. This is the time right now, everybody, to be a part of things and to help out our family center.
Yeah, absolutely. And not, our team members, all of the staff that work at the family center, and pour their heart and soul into the services that they give, because we see and through others every day the need for these services and the heartbreaking stories that come through. And all of the different people that we serve, from 75 years old to infants, who unfortunately have experienced these things in our lives. And for the community to stand up and not only say they stand behind the family center and our staff, but they stand with victims of domestic violence and sexual assault, and the impact that can have for the clients that we serve when we have donations coming in, whether it's monetary or if you see that we need paper towel or something like that, clients see and experience a community that cares for them too. And so it's impacting staff, it's impacting the organization, and it's impacting our clients. And we can't do it alone. We can't do it without our community standing behind us. Speaking
with Tricia Fancher, Executive Director of the Wisconsin Rapids Family Center, and to really bring this home, I think a lot of us statistics often do that, information often do that. Do you have any that you want to touch on as far as the conversation we're having here, and kind of add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, looking at 2023 and recapping kind of what 2023 looked like, we sheltered over 65 individuals. 35 of those individuals were children. We now have 7 rooms. So we have 7 rooms available to house, and each of those rooms has their own bathroom, can house multiple, individual with children or multiple children. And then one of the biggest things that stands out to me for 2023 is our crisis line. So we have a 24/7 crisis line. And in 2023, we served over 359. We had over 359 calls come into the crisis line, which was significantly increased from the year before. And looking at our current numbers year to date, we are on track to double that on the crisis line this year. So those needs in our community continue to grow, and people are in a place of crisis. People are in a state of need right now, through many different ways, all the pressures that people have on them and things like that. And so that is ending in crisis calls. And we're looking at, serving over 600 in crisis calls for this year. And those are numbers that just stick out to me, and are impacting all of our staff who are taking these crisis calls, and coming at a time so busier in those senses, but coming at a time with less funding, coming at a time with less support from state and federal grants and things like that. And that's again why our community standing with us is one of the most important things that we can ask for.
I know I've heard some of them, and you've done a great job. You're really good at this stuff. When it comes to being interviewed about the cuts that have been made, in recent months, I've seen you interviewed about them, and I know other domestic violence shelters have been. Have you had a lot of people reach out when it comes to some of the stats that you've just told us? And ask about those individual stats, because I feel like that's stuff that should be common knowledge that isn't. And not enough people are talking about some of these things. I feel like during the pandemic and right after the pandemic, there was a heightened notice on this one, and then it kind of faded, as this happens with this subject matter oftentimes in our pop culture and our society and everything. But it feels like those numbers should be common knowledge. And the idea of it rising even a tiny bit, let alone as much as it has, is got to be noteworthy to our community.
Yeah.
And something that a reminder to people out there that, for one, you are not alone in this, and two, this is a subject that we cannot take our foot off the gas on. We need all hands on deck when it comes to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and coming into October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month is one of the perfect times that we are pretty vocal about stats, whether that be on our website, our Facebook page, or we do have a event coming up in October for domestic violence awareness. And so, any of those ways to really see the impact that this is having on our community and the needs of our community, those are great ways to stay up to date on those things and to encourage you to have conversations with those 1 in 4 people have been affected by domestic violence in their lives. And so, if you're sitting in your office today and there's 5 people in your office, one of them has been affected by domestic violence. And so having a coworker or whoever it is, friend, family member who is up to date and involved in this fight against domestic violence can be so meaningful and impactful for that person. All of us really know somebody, whether we know or not. We do know somebody, and we come in contact and brush shoulders with somebody who has experienced this. So, some of the ways to educate yourself would be our website, our Facebook page, and getting involved in our events. We talk about statistics, we talk about numbers and things like that in our events as well. And then the volunteering. We have a great need for volunteers. We actually have direct service volunteer needs right now, where we have volunteers who are coming in during certain times of the week and answering the crisis line and being that kind of triage point and then getting them to a staff member. Volunteers who work in donations, lots of different opportunities to become involved. And I think the community knowing the numbers and the community seeing that impact, I feel like we're a small community. We're a large community, but we're a small community. Yeah. And, when you look at those numbers for the number of residents in this community, that's significant. Mm-hmm.
And it's even more significant when we think of how these individuals are. This is something we can do something about. This is something that there are oftentimes in life we're hearing this problem, this issue, and it tends to be things that seem so big that we can't do. Oh, how could I ever solve that? How can I fix the debt? How can I fix the climate? Some of these things. Here's something where if every zip code works on this, every neighborhood works on this, we can put a dent in this topic. We can bring these numbers down. We can show these individuals out there that they are not alone. We just in this 20-some minute conversation, we've already touched on a number of things. We haven't even scratched the surface of the amount of layers to this topic and ways that we need your help and assistance in getting to this and really doing some good work on this topic in this front. And we're so proud of the Family Center and the work that you guys do over there and the many different ways that you cover this and help on this topic in this front. And there are ways that we can help as a community, as individuals, whether it is through the appeals and dollars and cents or volunteering, and helping with daily needs. There are certainly things over there that could be used. Are there anything at top of mind, as long as we have you with us here today, that the community can help out with as far as needs around the house, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely. I tell people all the time when they ask that question, like, well, what do you need the most? Think of having your home having 20 plus people in it at a time. What would you go through the most? And some of those are paper towel, toilet paper, cleaning products, laundry detergent, food. We do have a pantry, so we feed all of the clients up in shelter. We have a pantry available for outreach clients as well. So non-perishable food items. We do have a couple freezers and fridge. So even some of like meats and things like that are always greatly, greatly appreciated. But trash bags, how much garbage does a family of 4 make? And then you add, there's 20 some people living in this area. That's a lot, a lot of garbage bags, a lot of toilet paper in a day.
Go through a lot. So anytime there is every action is a big action. Well, whether again dollars and cents or being able to drop off items and donated items, those are all greatly appreciated. And even with all of that, there is always your time. Your time is invaluable to us, and it's so appreciated. So volunteering with the Family Center is another great way of impacting your community and and helping out. Encourage you to reach out to the staff over there and find out ways you can do that. And if people do have follow-up questions, want to know more about some of what we talked about today, how can they reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can reach out. They can message us on our Facebook page, on our website. There, you have the ability to message there, or you can give us a call. Give us a call. You can ask for me. You can ask for Amy, who handles some of our communications, and we would be happy to chat with you and answer any questions that you may have, or get you involved in whatever might work best for you.
That website is familyctr.org, familyctr.org. Be sure to bookmark that. It has all the information you could want and need, and certainly in case you need it. And be sure to follow the Family Center on Facebook. It's not only a great thing to have pop up in your timeline and everything, but it's a great way for you to be able to share events and different things going on over there. You just never know who might see them that wouldn't otherwise. So another way you can help support the Family Center and the work that they're doing over there. And that phone number, business line, is 715-421-1559, 421-1559. Otherwise, their 24-hour crisis line is 715-421-1511. That's 421-1511. Again, Tricia, thank you so much for the time and everything you and the team over there do for the community. We appreciate you. We'll talk again real soon.
Thank you.
We'll have more Midday Magazine for you coming up on 97.5 FM, 1320 AM, WFHR. We are locally grown radio.